This video was sponsored by the World Caregiver Network. For more information, visit www.worldcaregivernetwork.com.
It's for alla iko vasaiziazo kafasitiazo. Hello everyone, this is Charles F. Gray, aka Atari Charles, and today this topic is, of course, on the Far Realm. Now, the Far Realm is a very interesting place, a very alien place, to be honest with you, and a place outside of time and space, basically outside of our reality. Now, the Far Realm has been written about prior to its inclusion into the Dungeons and Dragons universe, or multi-universe, whatever you want to call it. But we are going to discuss the Far Realm, and I'm going to cite a variety of sources. But anyways, here we go. So anyways, I'm taking this from the Farunian Tomb, a D&D wiki. I'm going to read this out to you, not line by line, but what I think is relevant. So the Far Realm, also called outside, the Far Realm is a plane, or perhaps a space beyond the planes, that is terrifyingly remote from the standard planar geometry. The entities that abide in the Far Realm are too different and too alien for the normal mind to accept without being damaged. Where stray emanations from the Far Realm leak into another plane, matter stirs at the beckoning of inexplicable urges before burning to ash. In the Far Realm, titanic creatures swim through nothingness, preoccupied with madness. Unspeakable things whisper awful truths to those who dare listen. For mortals, knowledge of the Far Realm is a triumph of mind over the rude boundaries of matter, space, and eventually sanity. The Far Realm is divided into an unknown number of layers. Each layer is only slightly out of phase with the next, and passing between the layers requires only a thought. It's possible to stand in one layer and see dozens of others, all overlapping, yet somehow distinct. Now, I want to be very clear about this, very clear about the Far Realm. It is literally outside of our time, outside of space, outside of the other planes of existence. It is literally outside of everything. And the Far Realm actually existed before our reality existed. So the creatures there, or at least some of them, and especially the entities known as the Old Ones, are, of course, older than the gods themselves. Now, it is a very horrific, very interesting, I don't even know if I can really call it a plane of existence, because it isn't. It is literally beyond everything and anything, and has existed before our reality. So wrap your mind around that. So I'm going to read just some of the Far Realm traits here. And I'm basically referring to the Farunian Tomb, a D&D wiki. And I'm also going to be looking at basically a Far Realm fandom, I believe. But anyways, let's go forward. So the Far Realm traits: no gravity. Entities of the Far Realm float in dark nothingness. The only hope of movement is a passage between layers, which requires only thought. Flowing time. A minute in the Far Realm equals no time on the material plane. So the material plane, or aka the prime material plane, is literally where we are right now. If you're listening to this, you're probably on the prime material plane. Think of Earth or another planet or what have you, but within our universe or multiverse. The Far Realm is outside of time, existing both before and after time's reign, if words like before and after have any meaning there. Infinite size. The Far Realm contains infinite layers, though the layers themselves are not infinite. highly morphic. The layers continually evaporate, divide, spawn, and breathe at the behest of the alien entities that drift through them. Sporadic elemental and energy traits. Conditions are always in a state of flux in the far realm, and it's entirely possible that a given layer could burst aflame as it gains the fire-dominant trait. Usually, changes in the elemental and energy traits of a layer are seen far off, moving from layer to layer to layer as a storm moves across the face of a normal world. Natives are subject to the ever-changing conditions, but they know to flee or take shelter when they sense a storm coming. But again, this is very interesting. This exists outside of time, if that makes any sense. You could spend 1,000,000 years in the far realm, and when you return, let's say you could live that long, when you return to the prime material plane, not a minute has gone by. No alignment trait. The far realm has nothing to do with morals or ethics. So usually other planes of existence, there would be a certain alignment associated with it. But not with the far realm. Wild magic. Caster. Okay, that's kind of boring on that. Maddening. Moving through the far realm is to see, hear, and think in a way that mortal brains are not designed for. Travelers might sprout eyes on their palms, relive 100 childhoods simultaneously where their parents were secretly far realm waits, or backwards speaking begin. I'm not sure what they mean by that. Entry into the far realm requires non-natives to succeed. Their will has to be strong to starve off insanity. So, let me see here. I may look at the other page here. So, on the far realm, landmarks and entities are multi-dimensional, existing on multiple layers at once. One could imagine the layers of a stack of translucent parchment with a given feature appearing as a single mark upon each page. Taken individually, such marks might have no meaning, but when viewed together in the stack, they seemingly combined into a three-dimensional object. Although full of a dark nothingness, the far realm is full of bizarre scenes and what passes for wilderness. The translucent layers are penetrated by rivers of milky white fluid that floated freely, sometimes flowing along a layer's edge for a few feet, then poured through into the next layer. Strange blue globes rained down from unseen heights, bursting when they struck something and unleashing horse-sized ticks that immediately scuttled away to hunt for blood. Gelatinous worms crawled through the layers. Forests of writhing, tentacled vegetation were encrusted with orange moss, growing above an amoeba-like sea. At the very limit of sight drifted huge multi-layer shapes, vaguely resembling creatures of the deepest ocean, but the smallest being was the size of a city, and they didn't even notice the lesser beings that occupied only a single layer. And this was mentioned before, and this is coming from the Forgotten Realms wiki. Let's see here. Gravity and time does not exist in the far realm. The only kind of movement possible within the far realm was passage between layers, which needed only a thought. The air is as viscous as syrup. It's possible to swim through it, though very difficult. Now, let's look at the difficulty of the far realm. Even getting there is extremely difficult. But let's quickly go into the some of the inhabitants. The far realm has many different inhabitants, many of them sentient. Some resemble mammals, while others insectoid. Some are even as powerful as deities. When meeting beings from the prime material plane, our plane, or inner planes or outer planes, far realm entities often adopted forms of creatures familiar with the viewer. The simplest natives of the far realm are the pseudo-natural creatures that roam the different layers, occupied with unguessable errands. They dwell beyond time itself and the regular planes of existence, living forever in a state of seemingly insanity. When summoned to our plane of existence, prime material plane, they often emulate and take the shape of familiar creatures, although they are always more gruesome than their material counterparts. Sometimes, however, they appear in a form more closely related to their origins, usually a mass of writhing tentacles, although more terrible forms were always possible. So the point is, basically, it's extremely hard to get through this plane of existence, extremely difficult. Again, it is far beyond time and space. It is something else. It exists before, during, and after, I guess, what would be seen as our reality. Like, think about that. So it's, in essence, to how we would see things, it has always existed. The far realm has always existed. So this is a very complex topic, very detailed topic, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and take care. Be careful if you decide to journey to the far realm, because literally it is unlike anything that you could possibly imagine. This is Charles F. Gray, Atari Charles, over and out. And if you want to support the channel, there's a link in the video description as well if you want to hire one of my services. Thank you very much, and take care.
This video was sponsored by the World Caregiver Network. For more information, visit www.worldcaregivernetwork.com.